Newark, the phrase, is not just an emotional phrase, but a statement that holds deep meaning about what really happened that night. Jin, the oldest member of BTS who had just completed his military service, stood on the Newark stage and delivered a sentence that instantly stopped time. In such an intense silence, thousands of ARMY voices suddenly turned into tears of emotion. The question is this just a form of appreciation, or is it an overflow of something much deeper, longing, freedom, and personal identity that has been held back? Jin's statement did not appear in a formal session or neatly arranged like an award speech. He threw it spontaneously, in between shouts of "Jin, Jin, Jin" that echoed from the stands of the arena. His face was a jumble of relief, excitement, and surprise, as if he himself had not expected that the welcome from the Army at Newark could be so impassioned and sincere. This is where context becomes especially important. This is not an ordinary concert. It is the beginning of a new journey of a post-military genie who seems to have changed her point of view on many things, including herself. For more than a year, Jin lived in a quiet space with no stage, no army, and no spotlight. His return to the stage not only marked the return of an idol to the entertainment world, but also became a symbol of a man who found himself again. When he said that being among the Newark Army was like being in heaven, it was not a metaphor. He described very honestly how the connection between him and the fans is not merely a relationship of celebrity and audience, but a deep, almost spiritual, emotional attachment. That night, the stage in Newark was filled with an energy that is difficult to measure with numbers or statistics. Thousands of soldiers from all over the world came with banners, light sticks, and great hopes to welcome Jin back. But what happened exceeded expectations. Haru's cries were mixed with hysterical screeches, and Jin's every step on the stage seemed to be reciprocated with unstoppable love. He was not only welcomed as an artist, he was welcomed as someone who had gone through a difficult process and now returned as a more complete person. The genie wore a white-silver stage suit that night, a color that reflects calm and clarity. Each movement seems to have been arranged in a very neat emotional frame, not excessive, but touching. He opened the concert with the song "The Astronaut," a farewell song that has now become a welcome song again. As he stepped towards the center of the stage and extended his hand towards Army, the atmosphere instantly became so intimate. There is no distance, no boundaries. There are only Jin and those who have been waiting for him in silence for more than a year. The statement, "Paradise for myself," is not only about the joy of returning to the stage. It was a deep reflection of what Jin felt about his place in this world. After a tough military stint, Jin realized that it wasn't the grand stage or the camera spotlight that made him feel alive. It was the voices of the army that kept calling his name. In a world where everything can be replaced and forgotten quickly, Jin discovers that the one thing that doesn't change is Army's love. And that night, the love was reciprocated. In a brief conference after the first day's concert, Jin explained succinctly, "I feel like I'm back home. But the house is not the place that houses you." These remarks confirm that for Jin, the stage is not just a professional space, but a healing space. And Newark was the city that indirectly became the site of his first emotional recovery. We cannot turn a blind eye to how the South Korean entertainment industry, especially K-pop, often demands extreme performance and discipline from its idols. However, what Genie showed in Newark proves that behind it all, there is still room for emotional honesty. He not only returned to perform, but to convey something that did not have time to say, that he is also a human being who longs for recognition not as an icon, but as a person. When Jin says he feels like he's in heaven, it's also a reminder to all of us, especially ARMY, that the connection between idols and fans is not a media illusion. It was real, and that night was proof of that. Thousands of flashing cell phone lights, incessant voices shouting his name, and the affectionate gazes of the audience all became part of the paradise he meant. A paradise he built not from fame, but from unwavering love and loyalty. Jin's first night in Newark has set a high precedent for subsequent tours. More than an opening concert, however, that night was a declaration that the genie had returned. And the return is not just physical, but also spiritual and emotional. He is present not only as BTS's Jin, but as someone who has gone through a long journey and now finds that the home he is looking for is in the middle of the Sea of ARMY. For anyone who doubts the emotional impact of the artist and fan relationship, this moment in Newark is concrete evidence. And as for the ARMY who were present that night, they didn't just welcome Jin, they helped bring him back to life. But now an important question arises that must be highlighted with critical glasses. Is this moment really as authentic as it seems? Or is it part of a narrative that has been structured in such a way as to create an emotional effect on the public? We cannot ignore the fact that the entertainment industry, including K-pop, has a long tradition of shaping public perception. A statement like, "I feel happiest," certainly has a high emotional value, but we need to ask, is it really an honest reflection of the genie's feelings? Or is it just part of a deliberate narrative construction? Did Jin really feel that deeply? Or did he deliver the sentence knowing it would go viral and arouse sympathy? That night indeed showed the incredible intimacy between Jin and ARMY. But in a world full of covert marketing campaigns, we should ask, is closeness sincere? Or is it deliberately created to sustain the image of a post-conscript genie in order to remain commercially relevant? Some pop culture watchers even put forward the theory that Jin's statement was the result of a script or production team direction to ensure maximum emotional impact on the fanbase. Furthermore, videos spread on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, to compilations on Twitter show various angles from the concert that night. Some look natural, others seem too neat and cinematic. Is the documentation circulating an original recording that has not been edited in a narrative manner, or has it gone through a process of visual curation and editing that emphasizes the emotional side? The audience needs to be aware that the information circulating today is very diverse, and not everything can be verified factually. Many viral content is cut from its original context to give rise to certain interpretations. So it's fair to ask, what percentage of the narrative built around this genie concert is a reflection of reality, and what percentage is an illusion created by the entertainment industry? It is undeniable that Jin's sentence, which sounds simple, has sparked an incredible reaction from fans. However, we should not ignore the fact that such statements are also a very effective tool for building the emotional loyalty of the fanbase. Is Jin really conveying that as a personal expression, or is it because he knows that the emotional connection with ARMY is the main foundation of BTS's popularity globally? In an era where content can be created, modified, and disseminated in seconds, the role of the public as consumers of information is crucial. Do we as viewers just want to believe what makes us tick? Or are we willing to dig deeper, question the truth, and filter information more objectively? This criticism is not intended to denigrate the moment between Jin and ARMY in Newark, but rather to invite us all to cultivate a new awareness of looking at the global entertainment phenomenon. The fact that many online media outlets publish this news with emotional overtones without additional verification shows how narratives can be shaped and controlled collectively. Nor do we turn a blind eye to the possibility that the moment is indeed truly sincere. It could be that Jin does feel a deep sense of peace and happiness when he reunites with his fans. But to ensure that authenticity, we need more than just camera footage and stage highlights. We need context, honesty, and above all, a readiness to question the narrative, even when it feels beautiful and moving. Does the ARMY also question the authenticity of the moment? Or have such strong emotions silenced doubts? Has the media reinforced this trust without a second thought about the accuracy and integrity of the information? We invite you all, viewers, readers, and fans, to critical reflection. Does this news reflect reality, or is it a very sophisticated media construct? Are we witnessing an authentic emotional moment, or are we part of a public consumption of content that has been engineered? One thing is for sure. The information we summarize comes from various media such as TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, to K-pop fan-based news channels. However, its validity still needs to be explored further. Therefore, we do not recommend that you believe every narrative just like that. Quite the contrary, we invite you to question, test, and discuss every piece of information that comes before us. Because in the midst of euphoria, critical voices often become silent. And when we stop asking, that's where manipulation becomes possible.